菜根谭
Tending the roots of wisdom.
169，为奇不为异，求轻不求机。
169. Embrace uniqueness without seeking eccentricity. Seek purity without pursuing extremism.
菜根谭原文：能脱俗便是奇，作异上奇者，不为奇而为异；不合污便是轻，绝俗求轻者，不为轻而为机。
白话文注解：思想能摆脱庸俗的人就是奇人，而刻意追求标新立异的人并非奇人，而是怪异。不肯跟人同流合污就算清高，可是一味追求清高而和世人断绝来往，那并不是清高，而是偏激。
169-1. A person who can transcend common thoughts is extraordinary, while someone who intentionally pursues eccentricity is not extraordinary but rather odd. Refusing to conform to the crowd might be considered noble, yet pursuing exclusivity and cutting ties with the world is not nobility but extremism. Translated by Bayandefu.
169-2. To be able to rise above the vulgar is remarkable, but the one set on being remarkable is not remarkable, but only trying to be different. To stand apart from corruption is an act of purity, but the one who renounces corruption just to be pure is not pure, but simply self-righteous. Translated by Robert Aitken Daniel W. Wyckoff. 169-3. He who can shuffle off the commonplace is an outstanding person. But he who makes a fetish of being different from others is not outstanding, but eccentric. Not being contaminated by the mainstream is called purity. But shunning all connection with the mainstream in order to seek purity is not purity, it is extremis. Translated by Paul White.
169-4. A person who can free their thoughts from the commonplace is extraordinary, whereas someone intentionally pursuing novelty and distinctiveness may not be extraordinary but rather eccentric. Refusing to go along with the crowd can be considered noble, but persistently seeking nobility while cutting off ties with others is not nobility. It is extremism. Translated by Wen Lin.
170，恩宜自薄而厚，威须先严后宽。
170. Bestow kindness starting from modesty and gradually increase. Exercise authority by first being strict and later lenient.
菜根谭原文：恩宜自淡而浓，先浓后淡者，人望其惠；威仪自严而宽，先宽后严者，人怨其酷。
白话文注解：对人施恩惠要先少，而逐渐增加。假如先多而后少，就容易使人忘记早前的恩惠而对你生怨。树立权威要先从严而治，而后逐渐放宽。假如先宽而逐渐变严，那部属就会厌恨你冷酷无情。
170-1. When bestowing favors upon others, it's wise to start with modest gestures and gradually increase them. If you give generously at the beginning and then reduce your kindness, people might forget the earlier favors and harbor resentment. Similarly, when establishing authority, it's better to start with firmness and gradually ease up. If you begin leniently and then become stricter, your subordinates might resent your sudden harshness. Translated by Bayandefu.
170-2. When offering charity, start sparingly and then increase your gift. If you start heavy and end up light, people will forget your kindness. When exercising authority, start sternly and then exercise leniency. If you start leniently and then become stern, people will resent you as someone who is mean. Translated by Robert Aitken Daniel W. Wyckoff. 170-3. When being benevolent to others, start by doing them small favors, and later bestow great kindness. If your kindness goes from bountiful to meager, others will easily forget what they have received. When exerting authority, be severe at first, and later be more tolerant. If your authority starts off weak and increase in harshness, you will incur resentment. Translated by Paul White.
170-4. When bestowing favors upon others, it is advisable to start with small gestures and gradually increase them. If you start with generosity and then decrease, it is easy for people to forget your earlier kindness and harbor resentment. When establishing authority, it is better to begin with strict discipline and gradually relax it. If you start with leniency and then become stricter, your subordinates may resent your sudden harshness. Translated by Wen Lin.
171. 心虚意境，明心见性。
171. With a pure heart and clear intentions, one can see the true nature of things.
菜根谭原文：心虚则性现，不悉心而求见性，如波波蜜月；意静则心清，不了意而求明心，如所敬增尘。
白话文注解：内心了无杂念，人的善良本性就会自然显现。倘若心神不宁而想要求发现本性，那就像拨开水波来捞取水中之月一般，徒劳无功。只有在意念清纯时，脑海才会清明。倘若断不了烦恼而妄想心境清明，就像镜中影，不仅看不清自己的本来面目，反而蒙上更多的灰尘。
171-1. When the mind is free of distractions, a person's inherent goodness will naturally manifest. However, if one's mind is restless and seeks to discover this inherent nature, it's like trying to find the moon's reflection by disturbing the water's surface, an effort in futility. Only when the thoughts are pure can the mind become clear. If one fails to overcome vexations yet tries to maintain a clear state of mind, it's akin to a mirror's reflection. Not only will it obscure one's true nature, but it will also gather more dust. Translated by Bayan Defu.
171-2. When your mind is empty, your nature appears. Endeavoring to see into your nature with a discontented mind is like stirring up waves to see the moon. When thoughts are cleansed, the mind is pure. If you don't understand about the mind, you are like someone who tries to see reflections in a mirror by laying on more dust. Translated by Robert Aitken Daniel W. Wyckoff. 171-3. Only when there are no impure thoughts in your mind can you discern your true nature. To seek one's true nature while still enmeshed in erroneous thoughts is like disturbing the surface of the water while trying to see the moon's reflection. When all thoughts are pure, the heart then becomes clear. Without ousting the worldly concerns that afflict the mind, not only will it be vain to seek one's true nature, it will make that nature even more obscure. Translated by Paul White.
171-4. When the mind is free of distractions, a person's inherent goodness will naturally manifest. If one is restless and seeks to discover their true nature, it is akin to trying to pluck the moon's reflection from rippling water, an endeavor in vain. Only when thoughts are pure does the mind become clear. If one cannot rid themselves of troubles and falsely imagines a clear state of mind, it is like a reflection in a mirror, not only obscuring one's true self but also accumulating more dust. Translated by Wen Lin.
172. 人情冷暖，世态炎凉。
172. The warmth and coldness of human emotions. The heat and coldness of worldly affairs.
菜根谭原文：我贵而人奉之，奉此峨冠大戴也；我贱而人侮之，侮此不衣草履也。然则原非奉我，我胡为喜；原非侮我，我胡为怒。
白话文注解：富贵时，人们奉承我，这是奉承我的官位和纱帽；贫贱时，人们轻视我，这是轻视我的布衣和草鞋。可见被追捧的不是我，我为什么要高兴呢？被侮辱的也不是我，我又何必生气呢？
172-1. When I hold high status and authority, people offer flattery. Yet, it's clear that they are merely admiring the external trappings of my official position. In times of modesty, people may belittle me, but it's evident that their disdain is directed at my simple attire. Thus, if their flattering doesn't truly pertain to me, why should I take pride? Similarly, if their disparaging doesn't truly affect me, why should I be upset? Translated by Bayan Defu.
172-2. When respect one gets from others is deference, it is deference to a tall cap and broad sash. When condescension one gets from others is scorn, it is scorn for padded clothing and straw sandals. So if their deference isn't toward the person, why should I be glad? If their scorn isn't toward the person, why should I be offended? Translated by Robert Aitken Daniel W. Wyckoff. 172-3, If I have rank and power, people flatter me. But the fact is that they simply fawning on my fine official robes. If I am in a lowly station in life, people browbeat me. But the fact is that it is my humble attire that they are sneering at. So if the toadies are not actually flattering me, why should I be smug? And if the bullies are not actually bullying me, why should I feel aggrieved? Translated by Paul White.
172-4. In times of wealth and prosperity, people flatter me. This flattery is directed towards my position and official hat. In times of poverty and obscurity, people disdain me. This disdain is aimed at my humble clothing and grass shoes. It is evident that what is being admired is not truly me, so why should I be pleased? Likewise, what is being insulted is also not truly me, so why should I be angry? Translated by Wen Lin.
173. 慈悲之心，生生之机。
173. A compassionate heart is the essence of life.
菜根谭原文为蜀长流饭，连额不点灯。
古人此等念头是无人一点生生之机，无此便所谓土木形骸而已。
白话文注解：为了不让老鼠饿死，就经常留一点剩饭给它们吃；为了可怜飞蛾的烧死，夜里只好不点灯火。古人这种慈悲心肠，就是我们人类繁衍不息的生机。假如人类没有这种慈悲心肠，那就与泥塑木雕的躯壳没什么不同了。
173-1. To prevent the mice from starving, I often leave some leftover food for them to eat. In pity for the moths being burned, I refrain from lighting a lamp at night. This kind of compassionate heart displayed by our ancestors is the vitality that propels the continuous flourishing of humanity. If humans lacked this compassionate heart, they would be no different from lifeless statues and carvings made of mud and wood. Translated by Bayan Defu.
173-2, Always leave boiled rice out for mice and keep lamps dark out of pity for moths. The ancients had this sort of concern, and it's really the whole point of life, generation after generation. Without it, one can only be called a blockhead carcass. Translated by Robert Aitken Daniel W. Wyckoff. 173-3, An old saying goes, leave scraps of food out so that the mice don't starve, and blow out the candle so that the poor moths don't burn to death. This merciful attitude of the ancients is what enables mankind to propagate and flourish. Without such a kind heart, a man is no more than a soulless empty shell. Translated by Paul White.
173-4. To prevent mice from starving, I often leave some leftovers for them to eat. To spare moths from burning, I refrain from lighting a lamp at night. This compassionate nature of ancient people is the vitality that sustains human reproduction. Without this compassion, humanity would be no different from lifeless clay or wooden figures. Translated by Wen Lin.
174. 勿为欲情所系，便与本体相合。
174. Do not be bound by desires, then, you will be in harmony with your true self.
菜根谭原文：心体便是天体，一念之喜，景星庆云；一念之怒，震雷暴雨；一念之慈，和风甘露；一念之言，烈日秋霜。何者少得？只要随起随灭，阔然无碍，便与太虚同体。
白话文注解：人的心体跟宇宙是一体的。一个欢喜的念头，就像星光灿烂，祥云环绕；一个愤怒的念头，就会电闪雷鸣，风雨施暴；一个慈悲的念头，便可化作和风甘露，滋养万物；一个冷酷的念头，就像烈日和秋霜，肃杀生机。人的情绪在所难免，喜怒慈颜哪一种感情能少得了呢？只要能够像自然界那样，现象可以随兴随灭，本体空灵无碍，人的修养假如也能达到这种境界，就可以与天地同心同体，生生不息了。
174-1. The human heart and the universe are interconnected. A joyful thought is like radiant starlight, surrounded by auspicious clouds. An angry thought can spark lightning, thunder, storms, and violence. A compassionate thought can transform into gentle breezes and nourishing dew, nurturing all beings. A callous thought resembles scorching sun and chilling frost, suppressing life's vitality. Human emotions are inevitable. Joy, anger, compassion, severity, which of these feelings can be avoided? As long as we can emulate the natural world, allowing phenomena to arise and pass as they will, while maintaining an inherent clarity and openness. If human cultivation could attain this state, we could harmonize with the universe. And our existence would be in sync with nature. Translated by Bayandefu.
174-2. The essence of the heart-mind is none other than the essence of heaven. A thought of joy is a lucky star or an auspicious cloud. A thought of anger is a roll of thunder or torrential rain. A thought of kindness is a genial breeze or sweet dew. A thought of severity is the hot sun or an autumn frost. Which of these should we skimp? Just follow them as they randomly rise up and randomly die away. With broad and unimpeded composure, your essence will be one with the great void. Translated by Robert Aitken and Daniel W. Wyckoff. 174-3. Man is basically just like heaven. When he is happy, he is like heaven when the auspicious star and clouds of good fortune appear. When he is angry, he is like heaven when a thunderstorm is raging. When he is benevolent, he is like heaven when it sends a gentle breeze and sweet dew. When he is stern, he is like heaven when it produces the blazing sun or the harsh autumnal frost. How can man do without any of his emotions? His happiness, anger, benevolence and sternness? So long as his emotions follow a natural course. Now rising, now dying away. And so long as there are no obstacles blocking the way, man's heart will keep on beating in the way the cosmos keeps on moving. Translated by Paul White.
174-4. The essence of the human mind is connected with the universe. A joyful thought is like radiant starlight surrounded by auspicious clouds. An angry thought can manifest as lightning, thunder, storms, and violence. A compassionate thought can transform into gentle breezes and nourishing dew that nurture all things. A cruel thought is akin to the scorching sun and frosty autumn, stifling vitality. Human emotions are inevitable. Joy, anger, compassion, severity, which of these feelings can be avoided? As long as one can be like nature, where phenomena arise and dissolve spontaneously, and the essence remains empty and unobstructed. If human cultivation can reach such a state, then it can resonate harmoniously with the cosmos, perpetuating life. Translated by Wen Lin.
175. 无事寂寂以照星星，有事星星以主寂寂。
175. Quiet and serene when there is nothing. Alert and focused when there is something.
菜根谭原文：无事时心意昏明，宜寂寂而照以星星；有事时心意奔逸，宜星星而主以寂寂。
白话文注解：平时闲居无事时，心情最容易陷入昏暗不明，这时应沉静下来，以觉醒关照积压心中的问题。当有事忙碌时，感情最容易流于冲动，这时应使头脑清醒，以冷静控制冲动的情绪。
175-1. During idle moments, maintain tranquility to reflect and ponder. When there are tasks at hand, stay vigilant and take control of tranquility to handle them effectively. Translated by Bayandefu.
175-2. When at leisure, the mind can be hazy. It is important to be totally alert, completely serene, and in harmony. When busy, the mind is easily put to rout. It is important to be totally alert, completely serene, and in control. Translated by Robert Aitken Daniel W. Wyckoff. 175-3. When one is unoccupied, the mind easily becomes befogged. At such times one should accentuate stillness to clarify the thoughts and seek enlightenment. When one is busy, the mind easily becomes agitated. At such times one should sober up and master oneself with calmness of thought. Translated by Paul White.
175-4. During idle moments of leisure, the mind is most susceptible to falling into a state of obscurity and confusion. During such times, it is important to calm down, introspect, and bring clarity to the accumulated issues in the mind. Conversely, when busy and occupied with tasks, emotions are most prone to becoming impulsive. In such situations, it is crucial to keep the mind clear and exercise calm control over impulsive emotions. Translated by Wenlin.
176. 明利害之情，忘利害之虑。
176. Understand the situation of gain and loss, but forget the worry of gain and loss.
菜根谭原文：意识者身在事外，宜息利害之情；认识者身居事中，当忘利害之虑。
白话文注解：作为非当事人，在发表评论时，应先了解事情的始末，明确其中的利害关系。身为当事人，则应不计个人的毁誉得失，专心致志把事情做好。
176-1. When expressing opinions as a non-involved party, one should first gain a clear understanding of the entire situation, including its intricacies and the interests involved. As a directly involved party, one should disregard personal reputation and focus wholeheartedly on accomplishing the task at hand. Translated by Bayandefu.
176-2. People who are consulted about an endeavor are outside, and deliberate on facts of profit and loss. People who engage in an endeavor remain inside, and forget about such considerations. Translated by Robert Aitken Daniel W. Wyckoff. 176-3. People who make comments on a matter are on the outside. They ought to understand the true situation regarding gains and losses. People who are handling the matter are on the inside. They should cast aside all considerations of gains and losses. Translated by Paul White.
176-4. As a non-involved party, when making comments, it is important to first understand the ins and outs of the matter and clearly grasp the interests involved. As a directly involved party, one should set aside personal reputations and losses, and focus wholeheartedly on handling the matter diligently. Translated by Wenlin.